That lighting.
I do need the water though. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I got you. That's all I do every day.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I want to do a marathon. I want to do potentially 2 this year. So
You the one in Durham or the one?
just one here and there.
There's one in no, Richmond.
Richmond.
There's a 5K in Richmond, and then there's one. I do believe Durham has one. Durham, or I know Charlotte has. I'm pretty sure Charlotte has one.
Yeah.
Let me check the one in Durham. I definitely know Richmond does. When we stayed in Richmond 2 years ago,
Yeah.
I think it was a 5K that they had. Durham. I'm talking about like 21 laps marathon, like one of the bigger ones.
I'm talking like 26.2 miles.
26.2 miles.
Yeah.
Do the Boston one.
Yeah, that's the one that popped up.
I've always wanted to, but I already know the way my knees are set up. It might not happen, man. Years of playing sports, playing football, it's definitely not gonna happen.
Yeah. Cool. But yeah, we can. I definitely think that'd be cool to talk about, like the way you got into tech, some things you've had to deal with,
Yeah.
and I can go into depth about why I love to.
Oh yeah, that's big time.
So
Yeah.
I think I touched on it with you.
Yeah.
With tech, so that we actually talked.
Nah, we were chilling at the spot you were telling me about it.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I left 10 years ago, and I'm like, damn, it's still the same going on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's sad to hear.
Yeah,
Why you think that's been the case?
it's the South, man.
So like you think the South just doesn't move as fast as the North finally?
So
I hear it all the time.
So I say this, right? If you look at the top places where startups or tech companies are going to get their high valuations,
Yeah.
they're in areas that have high cost of living or higher cost to live.
Right.
Right. So there's racism and prejudice everywhere.
Right.
Right. But if you live in a lower cost place like
Yeah.
Durham or even Houston, then you don't have to go outside of your prejudices or racism or what have you
Yeah.
to make it.
Right.
But when you look in like San Francisco and New York, like you'll be stupid to not invest in a company
Right.
because it's a Black founder
Right.
or a Latino or one founder.
Right. There's a lot of times a little bit more. Right.
So it's easier to get funding in those places, but it's still hard though too.
Yeah.
So like most of the people that I know who were Black, who raised money, they were in San Francisco, but I also spent a lot of time there. And then the other place I would say is like New York. I didn't really hear DC as much.
DC got the political gap going on.
Yeah.
Startup was a little bit behind. Let me rephrase that. Startup life in DC started to pick up now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that lighting is perfect. See, look at that.
Yeah.
The background too.
Yeah, it is perfect. Yeah. I might have to make this my spot.
Yeah, right.
For real.
Having a buck, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think the South, like, for me, I got a little different experience on it. I feel like after being able to live in this city and come from a fast pace, coming to an area that's known to be slower, it's been easier for us to operate quicker too, more efficiently.
Yeah.
I think I'm able to get in more rooms quicker so I can have conversations a lot faster. And I'm not saying everybody grows at the same pace where it's slow, but I think a lot of the transactions over.
Yeah, but the thing about you, and so when I was here, I had just came out of college. I wasn't as polished. So like I was like straight hustle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had braids back then too.
Yep.
So, I'm just talking the same talk that I was now as far as like knowing stuff.
Yeah.
So, a lot of hindsight looking back, I think it was almost like I was a guinea pig. They're like, wow, this is I look like the Black kid or guy on the news committing crime, but
Right.
I'm talking about I'm doing tech stuff.
Yeah.
I was a part of Durham Stampede, which was good, but what I found is that the opportunities I got, they weren't. It felt more like I was just like a token.
Yeah,
But
like you
we gonna help you out, but it's more about making us look like we're inclusive.
right.
But we ain't gonna write no check for you.
Yeah,
We ain't gonna.
yeah,
We're not even gonna give you the job that we think you qualify for. And not to say I got opportunities here, but it was just like I wasn't getting the opportunity I felt like I should have got.
right.
And then when I made the decision to go out west, it's funny, we can go into it later.
Mhm.
And I actually might keep a lot of the team, but
Yeah.
there was a guy, it was a company that I applied to,
Mhm.
and he told me to apply. I said, hey, just be upfront with you. Certain skills you asking for in this role, I don't have, but I'm willing to work on it.
Right.
Should I still apply? Yeah, man, go ahead and apply.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I applied, and then I get rejected. I went through the interview with his number two, the VP of marketing, and whoever his number two was. And then the reason they rejected me was for skills that I told them I didn't have.
Oh,
And I'm like, well, why did you? So then I ended up getting a job offer at Yelp. I got referred there from the head of the university. I sent her a cold email.
mhm.
And so I'm talking to the VP of marketing or whatever. We had another conversation. And I was like, yeah, I was thinking about moving out west. And I had already signed the offer.
Yeah.
But I was like playing coy
Yeah, right.
to a certain extent to see what he was going to say.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, man, I don't think you should go out west. It's very expensive. Blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
of
blah.
course, of course.
He's like, we can just walk over the tracks because we were at BU Cafe.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
BU Cafe?
Oh, they might have left because I didn't see them on Main Street.
Okay.
This is when they was actually in their original location where the African store is, and then I think it's called Bites Roy.
Oh, the one that's on Main Street, the one that's right downtown.
That's where the original BU Cafe used to be. Oh, and I put like a drop of Himalayan salt so it don't make you pee or something.
Oh yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. So me and BU Cafe. So he's like, man, we can walk across the tracks. I can interview you right now. And I'm looking at him like, okay. I'm like, you BSing me, man. Like,
It's the way the game
so
goes.
that's what I dealt with. And then the funny thing is when I come back, I see a lot of the same faces, and they look at me like completely different now. They're like, so you know, it's crazy. Like I got more respect leaving.
Yeah. I gotta
and
touch
coming
on
back.
that. Yeah,
You know?
I gotta touch on that though, because some cities for some reason leave niggas a sign of success.
Oh, for sure.
Like Boston, for me, I don't know if it's places of scarcity where you find this.
Which neighborhood did you live in Boston?
I grew up in Malton area, so Malton, Melrose area, but family was.
How far is that from Southie? If it calls.
Oh man, Southeast probably like without traffic, probably like within 5 miles, 5 to 10 miles, I think. So with traffic, it's probably like 45, 50 minutes now at this point. So with traffic is in Boston, you gotta go through the big dig that they have with the tunnels.
But yeah,
it's one of the bigger ones, man. Yeah,
you said big. Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to go through. I mean, you can go through Charlestown, but Southeast is kind of like it's Malden, Everett, Chelsea, and then like Charlestown, but then Southeast kind of right next to that. So, yeah. But why you asking about Southeast? Everybody knows about Southeast.
Yeah, isn't that where Whitey Bulger?
Yeah.
I learned a lot about leadership watching. Not that I glorify that life, but you learn a lot of like he was horrible though.
He was. I mean, what he had to do, I wouldn't say because I know a lot of people back home who make it tied to our family or people around the family. The way they operated was the survival. They had to survive in their way too. Them boys on the Southeast side. The one thing I know about kids from Southeast, they'll punch you in the butt, and it'll hurt.
So I got a lot. Actually, have a lot of cousins up there.
Mhm.
One of my late uncles and some of his cousins, which are my cousins, they moved up there, and they had one of his sons had like 20 plus kids.
Yeah.
So if you ever came across someone with the last name Baker,
Probably
were black.
I know a few Bakers. I know a few Bakers.
That's crazy.
Jermaine Baker is one of the guys that I grew up with, but I know a few Bakers in Boston.
They might be my blood.
That may be because you kind of look like Baker.
Bro, I gotta look at your Facebook, bro. You gotta.
Jermaine Baker might be your cousin, bro. He might be your cousin. I used to work back in the day.
There's a I think his name is Corey Baker. He lives up there too.
Corey Baker?
Yeah. And I only remember that because he got my same name.
On Facebook?
My last name ain't Baker, but
let me see if I know.
That's funny. That's why I asked like about Southie. Because I'm like, I don't know exactly where they lived at in Boston, but
Corey Baker. Yeah, so Southeast not that big. Southeast right next to Dorchester where maybe these people from. And so like Boston has the greater Boston area, which we grew up north of Boston.
yeah.
Southeast, obviously south of
Yeah,
Boston.
bro. After this interview, though, I want you to look through your Facebook, bro.
Yeah, I'll do.
That's funny. I knew it, bro. I was like, yo, you know any Bakers?
I know a few Bakers.
Yeah.
I know Bakers from Malden. I know a Baker. Jermaine, then he goes to Quincy now. And then I know.
How old is he?
Jermaine got
But
I mean, you said
so my uncle.
yes.
So my uncle would probably be his grandfather.
So your uncle lived in Dorchester, or
I don't remember exactly what part of Boston, but
he probably had a lady from Dorchester. Probably.
yeah, his first, yeah, maybe his
Probably.
first wife. But
Yeah.
he lived up there for about 20, 30 years, and then he moved back to North Carolina.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, did you still talk to him?
No, I haven't talked to him in a long time. But
I'm gonna ask you I'm gonna say a particular name. I want you to type that to him. But hey, is this your grandfather?
yeah, right.
That person's his grandfather.
Hell, baby.
Well, you don't know my grandfather, but
Well,
I mean my uncle.
I'm trying to think if Jermaine ever talked to us about knowing his family, his extensive family, and it's been so long.
He got to know the grandfather.
Yeah,
that would be his grandfather.
Okay.
So me and him would be, I think, second cousins.
I gotta check. I'll check to see. But there's some other ones. Like I said, Malden, Massachusetts. I grew up with some Bakers, so maybe.
Yeah.
You know.
Small world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go on and get into it. What's up, world? My name is Corey. Stay trapping. We're here with our Trap Talks. Today I got my guest Taylor. I'm gonna take your full name.
Taylor Erickson Wrice. I got you.
You got it. So you're a multi-time founder. Previously, you were the senior revenue operations manager for Robin AI. You're currently working with Profluent Sports.
Well, I'm a member of Profluent Sports.
Okay,
so yeah.
Former athlete.
Yep.
Also, you work for Definitive Healthcare, senior business analyst, project management, RevOps. So it seems like RevOps is your thing. And you also work with the government as well, too, right?
Yeah, spent a little bit of time with General Service Administration, then transitioned into working for the Department of Defense. So Army, Pentagon, back and forth, National Guard Bureau.
Okay.
So, work on technology pretty much.
Got it. So anything you want to add to, like, what else? I know I kind of glossed over it, but anything else you want to add to what you used to do?
No, I mean, that's really the bread and butter, man. I've been revenue operations. I've been doing RevOps before it was a buzzword, it felt like, because, you work with operations and processes, limited processes that you got to basically maximize, optimize on. I've been doing that my whole life.
Yeah.
So when you come from a place that's survival, you work with limited resources and processes. You got to find a way to make it work. So
right.
For me in business.
Yeah, and for me, my background is mainly in sales, so I've had the opportunity to experience good sales and RevOps, and I've had experience to do bad.
I bet. It's because I wasn't on team, bro.
It might have been, but you was in Boston though. Hey, say car. You got to say car for me.
Car.
You say it regular though.
Cause man,
you ain't from there.
Black bus is different. Car is different. There's certain, like ask someone from South to say it. So there are people that would say like car. You're like, that's a real thing. But you gotta ask them to say everything else. And you'll start realizing there's different accents that happen around Boston.
Okay.
So Southie got their version. Malden kind of has the same Southie version.
Yeah.
Everton, all those areas that are local to Boston right outside. But
got it.
Certain people have it, some don't.
Got it.
Most don't.
Got it. I thought everybody in Boston said car. I was like, car. Say car. So is that like an Irish thing?
No, because my sister, if you ask her to say car, she's gonna say it the same way. I don't know, man. I think it's just the environment you're around. Because I know when I was a little bit younger, I used to say it because my, people's parents would speak that way. A lot of it is like blue collar, man. It's a blue collar city. So the parents talk that way, the kids talk that way. Yeah. But, for us, my family, my grandmother was born in Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, back in the day. So we kind of grew up on southern roots, even though we lived up in the north.
Yeah,
So, you know,
yeah, yeah. So the first question I want to ask is, one thing I noticed,
mm,
is when you look at like, popular luminaries or like leaders, right? If I'm thinking like Jay-Z, I'm thinking the late Mother Teresa,
yeah,
Joe Rogan, um, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, just kind of naming people. One thing I've noticed about them is that they're very like assured of themselves. It's like I don't know if you can really teach that.
yeah.
Like, where does that? Do you think someone like how does that? How do you teach someone to be so assured of themselves? And that's the thing that really grabbed me about you when we first met last week. We were just talking. The stuff you were saying, and you was talking about how you were dealing with investors, this particular situation, and then we were actually talking to another set of guys. And it was almost like, you know, one was the A side and one was the B side, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you're very like really sure of yourself.
yeah,
And the other founders that we were talking to,
yeah,
they weren't. He
yeah.
wasn't as assured of himself. You know what I'm saying? So where does that actually come from? When did you like so assure of yourself? Where it's like,
I think even as a kid, I had to find a way to maneuver through who I was because it was always a question from others. You know what I mean? And I had nobody else to kind of represent myself or represent me beside myself. So as a kid, I think I had to grow up a little bit quicker than most people. On a lot of basis, I had the representation of my father there and too, my mom kind of being in the house, having brothers and sisters too. You learn that. I remember even as a kid, I'd go sign up. I'd literally go to tryouts, sign myself up without my mom doing it or anybody else, and basically just go through that whole process by myself. So I've been, like I said, as a kid, I think you get pushed into places of survival that eventually your life you have so many experiences by the time you're 30 years old, you can get in front of anybody.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, that's me in a nutshell, man. It's funny because I think I picked that up too in certain people really quickly, like discernment on who is sure of themselves and their products
yeah,
and who isn't. Um, Part of it too, man, is like having I have a grandmother that's always instilled to us that, you represent yourself outside the house. And so like anytime I come out, I always know there's more than me that I'm representing.
right, right,
So I have to come that way. Or if
hmm
I don't do it, then who else is gonna do it?
right,
So
right.
part of it just comes with that.
Yeah, and it's like when we was all talking, the guy's like, I think you asked him, or maybe I asked him, and I was like, "How much is your product?" And then he started doing math in his head. I'm like, "Dude, just say no."
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
And it was all love, you know what I mean? But I was just like, wow, I do just being around. I mean, that when we first met, that was like what? I mean, I instantly picked up on it, like,
I respect that.
or,
Yeah,
with,
appreciate it.
within 10 minutes. Like, I was like, yo, I don't know what you working on, but I was
Yeah,
like, yo, I just felt like if you had to
good
run through a
bitching on.
brick wall,
Oh yeah,
you would.
oh
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
And it's not necessarily that what you're working on. I mean, I think what you're working on is a great opportunity.
yeah. Appreciate
Uh,
it.
especially with these meal deals and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But like I come across a lot of founders and it's just like they're not. It's like if they built up that assurance of themselves, they would save themselves so much more time. You know what I mean?
oh
So
yeah, yeah. Like I said, man. Like when I built this thing, I said I was gonna build something, especially after years of working with somebody else. I was gonna build something that I could relate to. And I think part of it with the NIL deals and all that too, like my background in sports, Division I recruited, Penn State, Boston College, big time schools, UConn, and I ended up my senior year ended up homeless, where I didn't have the opportunity because of documentation, didn't have an address to play my senior year. So it took me away. I was NCAA uncleared. And so like for me just having that experience, it's like now if you build something around it, I'm not gonna fail the second time. It's not gonna happen. So, and a lot of that years ago, and I've done well with my life, gotten in the Pentagon and worked at, really, really good startups. But, that's something that sits in you. I think for any kid that grows up to become a man who has a time to basically take advantage of something, you do it. You do it, especially if it's a product like this. Like you do it with all effort, all energy, run into that brick wall and see what happens on the inside of it. So,
so let's touch on that. You don't have to talk about what caused the homelessness, but was it like just you? Was it your siblings as well? Like
no,
how did you maneuver like
yeah,
through that situation?
yeah. I mean, I feel comfortable talking to you about it. So I grew up single mother, father was incarcerated, moved away from them because I had a talent in football. Went to, family, but there was a situation that occurred where I'm gonna get displaced from the house. And so I had to find a way to make it through. So it was being me by myself for a certain amount of time. And then I eventually pushed myself back up to Boston when I got into school. So,
Mm.
but at that time, being in high school, having to finish night schools and not being able to attend traditional high school and finish and graduate that way, it was rough on me. It's a lot. I moved away from my family already. So, the
Would you move to?
I moved to Bristol, Connecticut.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So, yeah. So I looked at CT for a little bit. That experience was good just because it opened up a lot with the recruitments from big time universities. But I think the overall experience for me, I think that's where I had to figure out who I was. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So
Do you think that? I mean, you touched on having to go to school and fill out your own paperwork as
yeah,
a kid,
yeah,
but do you think that period of homelessness is what really kind of made you more sure of yourself because you went through some parts
yeah,
through that
man,
situation?
100%. I think at that point in time, like I had to figure out. I was really by myself,
Mm.
so I had to figure it out. Um, And so, you can't be unsure of yourself in those situations where you really don't feel it.
Yeah,
So if you fall flat, in my mind, that could have been it. So, a lot of friends that I grew up with ended up in situations, a lot of them ain't here no more. And so I just didn't want to be another example of that.
yeah,
So I was gonna make it. I was gonna push regardless of where I was at.
yeah.
And then so
So walk me through the like. What was it like? Growing up in Boston. Like we were just talking earlier. Like
yeah,
you asked me how I knew about Southie. I'm like, why you
yeah,
close
yeah,
to
yeah,
me?
yeah.
But like, how was it? What was it like growing up in Boston? You said you grew up around a lot of Haitians, so you
I grew up a
speak
lot of
Creole.
Haitians, yeah, and Polly Creole. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Boston was interesting, man, because like Boston, people have this negative idea about it, but they don't realize how diverse the pockets of Boston is.
right, right, right.
So I grew up around everybody. So I grew up around, like I said, the Haitians. We had, my brother's best
South
friend,
by say right.
yeah, Sapase, Mabule, yeah,
That's the only thing I know. 'Cause I heard Lil Wayne say
yeah,
when
yeah,
he went to Miami.
yeah. The food was crazy too. You ever had the Haitian food before?
It's I feel like it's very similar to what like
So
Caribbean.
suave, one of those, yeah, all those
You
things.
know it for
Yeah, yeah. So I say this too, like part of living in it, that reason why I learned different languages is because like survival with being around other kids and their families, and it's just like a sign of respect.
right.
So when you learn their language, their parents start respecting you too. So you can go in their house and actually play their video games if you don't have the video games. So and in many cases, sometimes my mom is food stamp lady, so we didn't have food. Right? Be so good to get in people's house and actually eat food with their families too as well.
Man.
So, I think, like I said, you talk about being sure of yourself. Like I had to survive in so many different ways. Mind you, again, having a grandmother who taught us about faith and everything too, we knew we weren't in the worst case. So like, even though we did have limited resources, we weren't probably the worst than somebody who got,
Right.
so,
Yeah, that's cool. So how many siblings do you have?
so I got two brothers and one sister. Yeah, I almost said two, but yeah, my sister is the oldest. I think she's 40 right now. I should have my sister. Hopefully she ain't said that. Um, and then I got an older brother, Derek, and then the younger brother, Jaden, who's pretty much like my twin. We're Irish twins. So
Okay,
yeah, that's my dog.
cool, cool. So you're technically the middle child.
I'm technically the middle child, man.
Do you feel forgotten?
Honestly, yeah. I feel like I'm the one that everyone knows he got it. So like people don't really check up as much as they want. It's more of me being the one that they probably expect to check up on them, which I can agree with.
Yeah.
Um, me and my brother talk every single day, my youngest brother. And he just moved to Charlotte recently just because I could tell he wanted to get away from like that Boston lifestyle. Boston is not the same of where it was when we left.
Mm.
A lot of the last names that exist, they got pushed out. So, you got this whole first of all, they getting pushed out economically because, a studio in Boston can range from 2,000 to 2,500. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's happening everywhere.
It's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Boston, I feel like it's more you start seeing it a little bit more. You see people our age, 30s, 40s, no disrespect to everyone, but they live with, others. It's just in a place of scarcity, you see a lot of competition. And so that's the thing too in Baltimore. It's like there's a lot of talent in a lot of areas, but for some reason we don't have examples of people making it.
Mhm.
And I think it is that, crab and barrel. And this is not just our like culture, this is multiple cultures. I feel like everyone's trying to work on top of each other.
Right.
Instead of realizing that collaboration is probably the easiest way to get to success opposed to doing it individually. So there's a quote that I came up with. I hope to think I came up with it, but in a place of scarcity, you find competition. In a place of collaboration, you find an abundance. So I like that. Boston, I feel like has so much talent. I got boys that are pushing in, startups with ideas that I'm like, man, this should have already got to where it's got. I moved to a different city. Since 2019, I've been moving. It's like my projection of things, not to compare with anybody, but like it is, I've been a little bit more, I've been able to achieve certain milestones a little bit quicker. And these guys are smarter in a lot of ways. They're more social in a lot of ways. Uh, but for some reason, I think that environment really plays, I wouldn't say detrimental, but it delays some of the success of that.
Yeah, I like to use analogy of like when you have a seed, right? It got to be in the right soil. That soil got to have some good water
Yeah,
because
right.
like I'll give you an example. Like you look at like the redwood tree.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
if I had a plant, I would love to compare myself to, it would be a redwood tree because they the seed sprouts out
yeah.
in the middle of fire.
Mm, mm.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
I ain't know
and
that.
so if you're not in the right environment under the right conditions,
Yeah,
how can you grow? Right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
me personally, I didn't feel that I was growing here. I felt like I had maxed out. So when I went to the Bay, experienced that, I was like, wow. I went out there for my career, but I ended up getting like fulfilled
Right.
even further spiritually,
Yeah.
learning a lot about
Which
the
is the
black
primary
experience,
thing,
So
the spiritual aspect of everything.
yeah.
Faith is crazy, man. If you have unwavering faith, I've been seeing this pop over. They talk about unwavering faith. Like if you got unwavering faith
They
on
got
something,
faith of a great mustard seed,
you're right. So there's another thing that people say is go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated.
Yeah,
So
that's yeah, yep, yep.
there's an
I felt
environment.
like I was tolerated here.
Yeah,
I wasn't really celebrated.
right. Yeah,
I love the city, but
yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful city.
Black Wall Street left a long time ago.
I know. It's sad to see because I see all the history behind it. The was it the insurance building, mutual building?
Yeah, I remember when it was here. It was here, and yeah, now you see what it is. That was actually, I think, at the time the largest. I think in the U.S.
Yeah, right.
There was one out of Atlanta, I believe, too, but I think the one in Durham was number one, as far as like size or whatever. But yeah, I remember that building. Um, the changes around Durham look good though. I actually like the changes.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. It's two projects here when I moved here from. And I went to Chapel Hill, and then I didn't want to go back to
Oh, that's where we
Goldsboro.
was at first.
Yeah,
Chapel Hill.
yeah, I went to UNC.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
majored in economics, but like after I left, I came here because I didn't want to go back to Goldsboro anymore. And so it was two projects here. There was one on Main Street, and then when you turn off Main Street, there was another one, and they done tore both of them down, so now they're condos.
Oh man.
And I remember, gosh, I can't think of his name. He was basically saying he saw the 20-year plan for Durham,
Yeah.
before most people saw it. And he's like, yeah, black people, or you know, because I don't think it's just like necessarily a black thing. I think it's poor people,
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
or
Social economic class. Yeah.
socioeconomic.
Yeah. Right.
And he's like, we're not in the city's plans in the future.
Right.
You know,
Well, I think Boston's similar to that. I think the city didn't have a racial problem. I think it was a social class problem. Those who were working class people got pushed out, regardless of what they looked like. The beauty about Boston is that diversity exists because you see parents, fathers, regardless of what they look like, they all tradesmen. They all work probably on the same jobs together. So you get to learn different things.
yeah,
But those people got pushed out.
yeah,
And probably, in comparison to Durham, it's the same thing in the plans where they cared more about the class opposed to the actual race.
yeah. 'Cause back in the day, Durham was crazy.
And
The stories,
culture,
the stories I read about Durham was crazy back
yeah,
then. Like the early '90s, like
yeah.
you didn't come downtown.
I've heard that. I've heard that. Matter of fact, somebody from NC Mutual was telling me at one of the innovators down there, because we want NC Ideas. So they said NC Ideas office is in the Mutual building. That makes sure.
It's there now.
Yeah,
'Cause they used to be underground.
yeah,
They
so
used to be, is it this building? I think it used to be this building. They used
oh,
to be
tobacco?
under that. Now they don't. Yeah, they used to be. Now it's a school. It's
Yeah,
a charter school. I just found that out like
oh,
2
okay.
weeks ago.
Yeah, I
But
know.
American Underground, I mean, NCID used to be under there.
So NCID is now
CID, North Carolina,
oh,
used to be
okay.
down there too.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know where they're at. I've seen them at
Yeah, I don't know where they are.
yeah, I know a couple of people that work at CED, but NCID, their office is over there.
Mm.
And yeah, I've heard a lot about the history of that building. It's just there.
Lister's real cool. I always like Lister Delgado.
Oh,
He's probably still
Ideal
there
Fun
too.
Partner.
He used to be, yeah, he was the main guy at NCID.
So Zakia, I know Zakia, who just actually introduced me to Lester recently. And we were talking, I think he's from Peru.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he's from
he's from one of
he's from,
the
yeah,
yeah,
he's from down there, yeah.
he's in Latin America.
I don't think he's Mexican.
No,
But
he's
yeah,
not. He's not
yeah,
Mexican.
you don't know.
Nah, he's not.
Yeah, Lister was always cool. I always like Lister.
He's a
You
cool dude. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, man. I mean, so yeah, BC and Durham, a lot of changes. But even for me, like Boston is kind of the center of everything that I've been a part of. And it's funny because when you move to certain places, you got to kind of stop some of the negative things that you learned in Massachusetts.
yeah,
Also,
yeah,
because it could come off as kind of harsh and rough.
yeah,
And here I noticed, like, even for me, as a grown man, I'm trying not to swear, use cuss words at all,
yeah.
especially like growing my faith and stuff. So,
Right, right.
but they'll slip out every now and then. And sometimes I notice here, like, people actually don't in their conversation. They not swear. But back home,
Yeah. Yeah, here there's, depending on, and this is a different environment too. Like even
yeah,
like the way I move, it's so crazy. 'Cause when I go back home to Goldsboro, I have to move very carefully, because I'm essentially not from there anymore. 'Cause I
yeah,
haven't been around,
right,
so I can't be like open and free, you know, doing that back home. It's like, what's
I
up with
know.
you?
Yeah,
You know what
man.
I'm saying?
Yeah. I can only imagine what would it be like for me to go back and really indulge in the old conversations and old relationships that I've had. And, I don't think anybody saw me get to this point, to be honest with you,
Yeah, yeah.
besides myself.
Not many people saw me being where I was today, and it is fine. I remember a guy I went to high school with, and what changed me is my brother passed away when I was 18, so that forced me to grow up, and I was like, I need to get the H out the city,
Yeah.
and
We got some similarities.
yeah,
I lost one of my best friends growing up,
yeah,
2013. But
yeah, yeah. I actually found my brother dead.
What's up, y'all? This is Corey Stay Trapping. I wanted to give a shout out to our sponsors, Doculingo. A cool thing about their platform is documents in, decision out. You can literally be talking to your documents like you're calling your mama to make a check-in. So 3 simple steps. First step is you upload your documents or link your documents to the platform. Step 2 is that it will begin pulling out intelligence. And then step 3, it'll take those intelligence and actually upload them to your CRM or to your sports hub if you are a sports organization. So what I need you to do is go here to doculingo.com slash trap talks 2040 and tell them the trap sent you.
oh,
which is
man.
which is like a whole other crazy. But I see that as a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
It's a blessing because it really fortified,
Right.
right? Like you
Right.
go to that level of extreme pain,
It's a lot.
ain't too much I feel like that can break me.
Yeah, right. Right.
But it was a curse because that was one of the few people I feel like truly loved me in the house. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
feel, bro, listen, man.
so it's like,
You know why God makes people talk? Because you probably didn't even know that what you just said to me, and I had no idea that we had a lot more similarities than you can imagine. So, like, you talk about my push towards what I'm doing is not just because of failing in football, but it's because I'm representing people that are no longer here that I used to, same
Mhm.
situation. Man.
Mhm.
I had a good friend named Ray Sean Hawkins, man. It was my best friend growing up. He and Kyle White, 2 kids. And man, like they both passed away in a way where I was like, I didn't expect that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, for me, it's like anything that I do, I gotta represent those dudes too, because they were still here and had any ounce of even breathing the air that I get to breathe every day. That's when you talk about the confidence too, man. It's like, I'm not living for just me. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not living just for Taylor Rice. Like I'm living for so many. There's a roster of people that I lost in the last decade that, like, I think they would be a lack of service if I lived every single day complaining about my life. And I get to live every day and be like here with you, sitting in this beautiful place.
Yeah.
So, I take everything with a grain of salt, but I truly believe like if anyone experiences those type of losses, we just move different, bro.
Yeah, it's
You talking about me running a brick wall? I know you don't have to run the multiple brick walls.
yeah. Like
So,
and I go through stuff. You know what I'm saying? I went through a tough situation just recently, and it's like somebody asked me like, how you older? I'm like, I ain't got no choice but to move forward. You feel me? Like,
yeah,
well, I'm gonna stop.
yeah. But you always got a choice to sit down too when you need it. So,
Oh, of course.
you know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So, like, it's definitely massive. I think now, especially our generation, because our older generation can tell us, man, get up.
yeah, man.
You know that? Yeah, stand up.
Yeah.
But now, I think it is good for us to find ways to sit down and really just take everything else out of the embryo and focus on our nucleus and really just relax.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Breathe, enjoy small things, get off the laptop, get off the computer. Sometimes I got to go with a 5-year-old. Sometimes I got to just go on a drive, man. And like, I find that's my thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get away from my daughter and not to say, but it's a lot. And then, my lady too, like you could just be yourself. And that first 10 miles of driving, you got 10 days back in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you ask me, where you out so long? Like, man, I'm just chilling. You thinking that I'm probably somewhere crazy and I'm over here eating chips in the car.
Yeah.
That's growing up as a man, man. Women, whoever deals with it, but we all kind of have, you need, like I said, when it's time to relax and sit down, do it for yourself.
You got to. You got to. There's a thing you said earlier that I think is important to touch on. Because like I said, the older generation, they like pray about it. You got an issue, which you need that.
Yeah.
Pray, read scripture.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be more of us. Like I'm looking on IG, and this guy's talking about mental health, and he said a lot of us don't have someone we can confide into. True, and we ain't got to say pause every other second.
Right.
Like what I'm saying? People in your family see you as a strong one.
Yeah.
And I get that too.
Yeah.
And so what I found is that I have to, because I naturally don't show a lot of emotion. That's just, it's not something I felt like, it's my temperament.
Right.
So I have to like use words to explain how I feel.
Yeah.
So how do you,
how
do you let the people around you know you need help, right? So that they can see it. You know what I'm saying? How do you, cause you talked about your brother.
Yeah.
Because everybody sees you as a strong one. Like everybody sees me as a strong one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, how do you break that wall with the people you love the most?
That's a good question. I'm straightforward, man. I'm transparent, very blunt.
Yeah.
In ways sometimes people don't like it.
Yeah.
But I could tell people like, man, I'm exhausted right now.
Yeah.
I'm tired. So like, my temperament is always, sometimes I show too much. Like I would speak ahead of, not that it's a problem, but I feel like it's true. If you have a closed mouth, you won't get fed. And I've lived a life that the more I was able to speak on certain things and topics, I would get what I want, but it would also be what everybody else wants to say, but nobody saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, again, we tap on confidence, and like, I've always had to speak up, and I spoke up a lot more than I should have, even as a kid, and it get me in trouble because my brother says this recently, like, "Bro, I commend you for growing up. You even were the type that as a kid, people used to label you as a bad kid just because you were telling the adults when they were doing bad things." I'm like, man, you're not supposed to do something like that. And I've always been like that, even as a kid, man.
Where
like,
did that come from though?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know, man. Like, I think part of it is like my mom would always be in the house and I would want to sign up and get myself situated outside.
So you always had to take initiative.
Always had to.
So
Always.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there's be times that like nobody will be saying something and I'm trying to figure out why not. And then as I got older, I realized like there is status quo. There are people that are just a little bit different in the way their temperament is towards like certain issues, etc. I didn't grow up like that, man. Like if I wanted something, I was telling everybody.
Yeah.
And I think I lost a lot of people in my life too because maybe I had spoken too much about certain things. And I don't know. I think as I've gotten older, I just realized how to do that in moderation.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as a kid, you just,
Yeah.
we need help over here, help us out.
Yeah.
Your mom's like, man, don't tell me for that. So I just, you know, I learned how, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ain't got no food in the house. You don't tell me like that.
It's funny because one of
coming.
my younger cousins, because she wrote on Facebook, this is like a year or two ago. It maybe longer. She was like, me and my son, it's like, I guess somebody asked him something in the grocery store. He was like,
Oh,
or she
man.
was like, oh, we got different daddies.
Bad.
She's
I bet.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. See, I don't think I was that bad, but as a kid,
I mean, I think they underfoot. They was underfoot.
oh man, my daughter, she's now starting to say it on those people. But yes, it's just skill that you transitioned into, and I think, like I said, I don't holding back on anything is not gonna help in any relationships I'm a part of. So you know, I'd rather give people what they need right away so that they can make their assessment of me and move on accordingly if it doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
And so I do the same thing in my way. You know, I got a funny way of like looking at how people operate. If it doesn't work out for me, I have no problem, you know, explaining to them that this isn't working out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And it's funny you say, like, you realize what to say and when to say it and when not to say certain things. And it's like I really hone in on like really protecting my peace.
yeah.
Cause I'm gonna come back. Game.
Yeah.
But then I realized, I'm like, had these thoughts in my head about somebody did me this way, and I'm like, yeah, if I see him, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
Because I actually have a very cagey side to me.
Yeah.
But what I realized is, like, when you playing dirty, you become dirty. So
Yeah.
it's like, why should I expound my energy getting lower? It's like I might as well just stay put where I'm at, you know, and like, because if someone did you wrong, they know you did you wrong. The best way to
100%.
get back at them is what I call blow up, you know,
Yeah,
shine
yeah.
on it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so it's like, why would I be petty?
Yeah.
You know,
It's hard, man. It
Yeah.
really is. I got a list, man. I ain't gonna hold you. I am one of those dudes that I remember a lot of people who said something,
yeah.
did me a certain way for no reason too. Because I was over here just trying to survive.
That
But
makes
since-
worse, yeah.
Right. But I think even for us, if you use that even at a younger age, a lot of people didn't realize, like, it is true that, like, people are haters. Like, it isn't really that. Success makes you think about yourself if it's not really yours. So I've learned through life that your success makes someone in their chest, their heart beats fast for some reason.
Right.
Either they're happy for you or they're envious of you.
Mm-hmm.
And like growing up in Boston, place of scarcity and competition by nature, you find that. For a lot of sometimes you can be elevated in life really happy. So, you know, quickest way to find out if somebody is enjoying you is blow up and see what they say about it.
Right.
Someone will say, man, I'm happy for you, man. I'm happy for everything that you've achieved. Someone will say anything, you know, just kind of watch. My brother calls it a monitoring spirit. When people learn and they don't interact, they don't say anything, but they'll go talk to other people and like, you know, spirituality wise, I think, you know, that there's some stuff going on with people when they get in that space.
Yeah, and when you think about it, a lot of times it's not that they don't like you, you're upset with themselves. Your success is projecting where they fell short at.
Yeah, right.
And you just, so they're not necessarily
Right.
vengeful and
Right.
hateful of you. It's more inward. You just represent that.
Right. You bringing it out.
But they don't know what you had to go through to get to where you were. So,
right.
And maybe they do.
Yeah, man. I think, like I said, I think it's that monitoring spirit. It can be very detrimental to somebody. I don't think you should compare yourself in ways where it's a negative thing. I think it should allow you to think, okay, if this person's able to do it and they're close in my proximity, then I may potentially be able to do the same thing. Right.
But they say comparison is a thief for joy.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's true.
it's like,
Biblically too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in scripture that talks about thinking that way, moving that way. I think God has a plan for all of us. If you tap into that and use that as a foundation, then any of us can move on our own accord. Again, another reason too why I talk about everything on that is just like, you got to talk about your testimony. So part of it is like, you talk about it, people might hate you for it. But if you do that, if you don't talk about it, then in scripture it says you're not showing testimony of when God was in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So like for me, nothing exists if I didn't have faith on it, you know? And so I'm gonna do it regardless of the gift for that.
Right. Right.
So I can't control that. If I succeed and I show some kid that grew up in the city that I grew up in and they're able to get, I mean, I'm not an NFL player or anything, but I got a house, family, beautiful situation. Those are things that I consider success. And it's freedom that I have to be able to build my own thing too as well. Peace of mind, like you said, that's success within itself. All the accolades and all these things that we all try to chase in life.
They cool and all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I ain't sleeping in bed with my awards though.
Right, you know? Right, that's exactly 100% true. Yeah, 100%. And some people make it seem like, here's the thing that's funny. It's like you get successful in your life and you realize you still can be lonely.
Yeah.
You still can be lonely
Yeah.
in those places.
A lot of my friends and family who are like highly successful, a lot of them were like lumpy, you know. So, but some of them have found mates and it worked out. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? But like,
Yeah.
yeah, like, you know, you hear a lot of NBA players. Kevin Garnett just did a clip with Paul Pierce on his show. He's talking about how
oh my God.
and how hard it is chasing a ring and how dark it is. Like you gotta really hone in and go in.
Yeah.
You know? So it's kind of, this actually leads me to my next question. Like, you know, you're a startup founder. You married,
No, not yet. I'm engaged now.
engaged,
Yeah.
and you got a daughter.
Yeah.
So how do you juggle that? Because you know the common, we used to call it back in the day. We called it tech porn, right?
Yeah.
Like you know,
Yeah.
you got hoodie on,
Yeah.
you know, you working all day and night. You know, how do you juggle your startup, raising your daughter, and being the best fiance to your fiance, like, you know?
I'm not the best, so I'm still trying to be the best that I can be for myself. I take it one day at a time, man. It's like I think I have learned through life how to moderate my time. So yeah, there's been some very, very late nights and early mornings. But I have someone who's able to help me out with that. She understands what I'm building. She respects it. Again, we've had our situations in many cases, but we've been really like dealing with each other since 2013. So
Okay.
met her in college.
Y'all met in
College, yeah. Yeah, we met in college. Actually, it's a funny story because I was walking across from her. Her room was in the same level as mine. And I was walking with the girl that I was dealing with. And I seen her in her dorm. And I stopped, looking at the girl that I was with, and like, can I? And I went to go talk to her and asked her, like, what is your name? I just wanted to know her
Hold
name.
on, was that your girlfriend though?
No. This is the girl that I was dealing with.
Okay.
Yeah. And I seen her for the first time. And I was like, I just wanted to know who her name, like what her name was. And so I think for me, like, part of it is just having somebody who's patient.
So that was your pickup line. What's your name?
What's your name? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was talking. What's your
You listen to Charlie Murphy?
Facts.
I mean Charlie Wilson.
Charlie Wilson. What's your name? What's your number? I think like being able to just have a life where you got to figure it out, man. Like regardless, you know, if it's a late night that I want to work on this thing, part of me too is I'm neurodivergent a lot of ways. At least I don't know if it's like ADHD or whatever the case is they try to say, but I found success being that way, where I could kind of do multiple things at one time. Because you talk about those things, but I also was at one point in the early starts of working the Doculingo, I was also working a full-time job, you know, in revenue operations. So, you know, I've worked 9 to 5 and then from 6 to 11 for what I got to do. But now that my daughter's older, now the company's grown, there's been ways where we've been able to, you know, use automation in our tool, in our internal processes that took that RevOps experience now to also where it's like I can breathe a little bit. So I think we're past the hump of where it was, you know, I was always working and always kind of doing what I had to do. But I think part of it is really just having the right person around.
Yeah.
It's patient with what you're doing.
Yeah, and a lot of flexibility too.
Yeah.
So how do
remotely too.
so how do you get your partner to align with your vision?
They got
Right, it's first.
they got to be bought into just you and what you do as a person. I think that's part of the reason why we choose our person is because they're able to work with us in all phases of our life. Um, I think the buy-in was just, she got love for me, man. Like, the girl loves me to death. Even though sometimes I try to figure out, as a guy, try to figure out, does she really though? But I think part of it is love, man. Like, somebody really loves you and they believe in you, they're gonna let you go do that thing because they know it comes back. Their return of investment comes back at tenfold. Right. So all the decade of us, more than a decade of us kind of interacting with each other, I think she's never really questioned. There was one time she did, but we got over that. And every single time we went through something, we still got over it, And so I think we're building a platform or whatever the case may be. You're going to get it for some years. It's the easy part. Yeah. We already got through the stuff that you would deem as detrimental towards the relationship. So I don't know if she's fully bought in yet. We'll see. There's investments coming along now and there's things happening with the business that I think she's starting to, Doculingo really becoming something from what I knew it would be. I've always been building, and I've always tried to build things. So
Yeah. But and that's the blessing and the curse of being an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you see the vision before everybody else sees it.
Right.
And like there can be one thing that goes well, you like, hey, this is it.
Yeah.
Like I ended up getting it took me the longest to get to 60 subscribers on YouTube.
Okay, yeah.
And when I hit 64, I'm like, oh, I gotta keep going.
Yeah, right.
But on the outside looking in, somebody else looking at it like, you just got 64. I'm like, nah, I see it.
Yeah.
I see it growing. So like, that's also like the thing about being an entrepreneur. Like I said, you see the vision of where things can go,
Right.
but then people don't see your vision, right?
Nah, they won't even when you got it. People will always make it an excuse. The right people hear you differently. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you're pushing out in the beginning, I guess you go back to faith, man. Like, you're probably the only person that can see that thing. You know what I mean? So you're going to work towards it, and gradually you are going to get more subscribers. It just comes with saying, hopefully after this, all my people, hopefully they do it. They subscribe to this. I feel like I opened up about myself. There's a lot of questions that I think a lot of people have already had, but your platform allows me to answer some of those questions that people probably didn't feel confident in asking you. So, I think part of it is just one day at a time. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And keep going. Keep the main thing the main thing. Don't try to overly come.
I love that. Keep the main thing the main thing. And that can apply to a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody will like keep the main thing. The main thing.
If you say that to yourself all the time in every situation that pops up, you'll be all right. Yeah. You'll be all right. It don't matter what it is.
No matter what it is.
Keep the main thing.
Keep your job.
Keep your job.
Your side hustle isn't your job. That's a side hustle.
That's the side hustle.
Yeah.
Until that side hustle talks to your job and says, yeah, man, you good.
Yeah.
So you gotta, like I said, I think keeping the main things the main thing, man. And that's what I've been doing my whole life. It's trying to not make things overly complicated. And anytime I did, I always failed. So
right.
Yeah. But every loss I've learned something. So I can't.
Yeah, loss is a lesson.
Yeah, for sure.
But you gotta have that lens though,
Yeah.
And it's easier to turn a loss into a lesson when you're not living in the pain of it per se.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like even, but yeah, that's how I look at losses, man.
Yeah, every L is not a loss, man. It's a learning.
A lot of times they're more important than your wins. If you win it, you don't really want to figure out why you won. Like,
no, there's another thing in scripture they say when somebody asks for all these blessings and you get all these problems, and then realize that the problems will give it to you so that you can learn lessons from preparing. Yeah. So, I took everything like that too. I'm cool. If everything going good, something's up. I need a little bit of loss. I need something happening for me to feel comfortable to know that, like, okay, because if everything's going good, it's got to be something. Right. Got to be something. Right. So
how did you get over? Because you said you got a petty side to you. How did you get over your petty? I'll tell you mine.
How'd I get over it?
I want to hear yours.
Man, I think I had a one time where I was able to say ha, like, and I realized that those people needed help more than me doing that. And so I chose.
Hold on, what happened?
I ain't gonna talk about it. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about it. 'Cause if I do, people know exactly what it is.
Yeah. We can talk about it all the time.
Yeah. There was, a time where I could have been very, very petty, and I chose not to. And then I realized I felt better just letting that day go
Yeah.
and just keeping it moving, but helping them where, they left it.
Mhm.
And so I chose not to be petty on it. And I think too, when you have kids, man, there's a lot of times you be petty with your child. And there's a lot of times you see your child being petty with you. And so you just gotta, it's part of maturing, man. It really is.
Right.
But it's
Right.
not that I'm doing it 100%. There are times where I'm like, man, I could play right now. And there's times that I have in the last 2 years. But if I even thought of doing it the way I would want to, man.
Yeah, I be thinking about some diabolical stuff. I'm like,
Me
man.
too. Right.
Then I think I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, right.
Like, ain't no point. They ain't gonna make me feel no better.
Nah.
You know.
Yeah.
But this situation I had. So when I was here in there was 3 guys who put together a party.
Yeah.
And it's like professional. I was a part of the Madeira Stampede.
Okay.
And one of the guys was like, yeah, so-and-so having a party.
Yeah.
I wasn't invited, but I'm like, I knew dude went to Carolina. I'm like, I'm just gonna pull up. That's how I was back then. I just pulled up.
Yeah, right.
And so I didn't know it was 3 guys who put the party together.
Right.
One of them was a lawyer. And I was supposed to meet him, but I didn't because I forgot about the meeting. So I kept it real with him. I'm like, hey man, my bad. And he sent me an email. And he didn't seem like he didn't take it like a big deal, but he's like, yeah, no problem. I'm helping this company close a 800K round. And I'm thinking like, in my mind, I'm like 21, 22. I'm thinking like, why is he telling me this?
Yeah.
But I didn't have much context.
Right.
So I'm like,
Right.
I'm thinking in my head like, why is he telling me this? I'm like, oh, he must be cool.
Yeah.
So kind of find he probably was just trying to brag and say, you wasted my time.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I go to the party and I'm grabbing food and shit. He walks up on me, he's like, you need to leave if I do it too. And so I look at him, I said, what? I put my plate down, I walk out.
Yeah.
And so one of the other guys was like, hey man, this was our party. I wanted you to come,
Yeah.
but it was all 3 of us. He ended up inviting me to like the ballpark. He
Yeah.
bought out the Durham ballpark or whatever. He bought a stand, he invited me. And so that lawyer, when I moved out west, every time I got a new job, I look at his LinkedIn because I knew he could see who was looking at his LinkedIn.
Right.
And then it got to a point I was like, you know what? I keep doing this.
Yeah.
It ain't really making me feel no better. You feel me?
Yeah. I feel
But he would look at I would look at his page and he would look at
Right.
mine.
Yeah.
But then I realized like, it ain't making me feel no better. I'm out west, man. I'm living my life.
There's some dudes back home.
And then I stopped. That was one of those moments where I actually stopped being petty because I realized
Yeah.
if it's just wasting my happiness and my peace.
Yeah. There's a lot of dudes back home that used to diminish our names for some reason. And we never understood why. And now with our life and how everything's going, sometimes you do want to be like, yeah, look at this now. Like I'm completely opposite of what y'all probably thought. You know what I mean? I'm successful in all these other areas, but like you said, as you mature and you get a little bit older, there's times you can be petty, but you realize you said I'm out west.
Yeah.
I'm so far away from these people, man.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm calling back home and I'm hearing about what's going on. Like, are more black people getting funded? Nah, it's the same. I'm like, for real?
Yeah. So it stays the same. And it's funny because it's like you go back and you notice how people move it, but it still feels the same. So your life progresses and you start realizing why. A lot of it too, people, they're young, man. And over the years, you go through things in life. I'm sure a lot of the guys I'm talking about, women that used to talk about it in negative ways, they got kids too now and they're moving in their life and they may have certain things also that's happening that might be detrimental towards their families that, when there's kids involved and people have kids, I don't even care with small words. I mean, I still kind of respect you.
Yeah.
So, even if you've done them dirty in a lot of ways in life, you got kids like, and I know your kid could be out there in the world and I come across them and I'm gonna take them in and make sure they're good until they get back to even who the person who's considered my enemy. That's just how I was raised.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of things that I've learned through life. I think once you get to that point and it arises where you can make a choice, you realize sometimes like, well, you want to be petty, but something internally kind of keeps you away from doing all that. So
Yeah.
You know, especially with age, man. You start seeing gray hairs on yourself, and you're like, I'm too old for this.
Yeah, when we start recording, I'm gonna tell you the funniest petty story I've heard.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to say it,
Yeah.
but it was hilarious. I was told this by somebody. I was like, wow, that's like some top tier petty. I'm like, yo, that's some top tier petty.
Yeah, tell me.
I ain't gonna say because if the person sees it, they're gonna know that, you know. But I'll tell you just for about once this camera goes off.
I got you.
So what was the information behind starting your company?
Part of it was what we talked about. You know, the sports situation when I was growing up as a kid. The documentation issue, not having the right documents. Working across startups and then also working in government, I realized too, documentation was obviously a situation that everyone pretty much working in spreadsheets and CRM the entire time.
Right.
So, you know, for me, I think the inspiration was connecting the dots between the two. And when we built Doculingo, we didn't build it just because you know, here's this platform we got now. We went and actually talked to people to see what problems they had. And then from there, translated from AI, from those conversations, trends of problems that people talk about. And a lot of it came up with documentation, documents, translation documents, all kind of came up as a major problem.
Right.
And so, you know, I built the wireframes based on those interactions and other conversations.
So I know what a wireframe is, but some people may not know. What is a wireframe?
Yeah, wireframe is just like an overall UI. So whatever you see in like Facebook or whatever, like it's built in certain layouts.
It's like a picture of what
what
have
want
be,
it to look
but
like.
it's not usable, but it's like
it's kind of like
almost like this wall. We got this button.
So this draft, it's like a draft of it before it actually goes into production. And so we were able to get the wireframes with even AI, kind of see what would work for people. I've worked across CRMs and other platforms and applications where I've seen it very, very complex. So I didn't want to build a platform to be very, very complex.
Right.
So especially in sports, people don't want to become subject matter experts of that technology. They prefer to kind of do less and get the data in so they can get the good data out, close the deal. And so I took that into context too when I was building a platform. I didn't want to overly complicate it with the UI. And so we, you know, like I said, we had a couple of wireframes that really, really worked. And then we had, you know, feedback loops on those wireframes, and we had positive feedback on it. So
yeah. So do you think you would be able to do your idea had it not been for AI? Do you think you would be able to do it without it?
That's a good question. Yeah, no, I think I would have eventually, but I think the timeline drastically changes.
Yeah.
Execution. I think as far as being able to get on a call with someone that on a demo with someone and build out the actual wireframe for them, I mean, that takes a lot. You think about developers, right? Like, how long is it? Back in the day, 10, 15, 20 years ago, how much money and time did it take for a developer to basically execute a wireframe on what you thought?
Yeah.
You know,
They had to use Adobe.
And there's a lot
Dreamweaver.
Man, there's so many things.
We kind of date now.
Yeah, we are. It's funny. Very true. But now, like, you can whip something up, and it's good because you get MVP together. I mean, you can go out to market and have conversations with people with an MVP tomorrow if you're really thinking about it.
Yeah.
And say, hey, what do you think about this product? So part of what I built was based on trust. I have this framework that I use called people, process, and platform. So people first, figure out who the people are, the audience, have them then go to their second.
So that's your 4 P's. I learned them a different.
I got the 3 P's. 3 P's. Yeah, the process, platform.
Yeah, but the P's I learned were in business school, but yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Product placement. I think that may have been the
product pricing placement. I think is that you get MBA, right?
Nah, but I took business school course. I majored in economics.
Okay.
But I took business courses because I was trying to get into the B school, but then economics ended up being better for me. But
yeah.
That's when you said the 4 P's, I'm like, okay, lift it.
Yeah, so our 3 P's is people, process, platform. So you learn people, the audience, get them to talk about that. Number 2, the process. And usually when they talk about process, they bring up pain. And then that's when you determine whether or not you want to talk about the platform that you have.
Yeah.
Or the platform that you want to do. So you keep that framework in every capacity of communication with people. You can build a product, you can manage a product and sell a product.
Right. So you making it sound so easy. Like I've done a lot of work before. Um, like I mentioned, I've been in sales, and what I found is that a lot of times the best product ideas come from what you're not hearing.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll give you an example. I remember when I was at this company called Aurora Solar, and our clients would talk about how they wanted a more customizable proposal, because our platform was used to create proposals for solar installations on residential and commercial properties. People would talk about how hard it was to do it, to put the proposal together. Our platform wasn't easy at that time. And then I remember sitting in on some product meetings, and the PMs were just like, "Yeah, we're gonna allow them to customize the entire document and break it into individual pieces and stuff." And then I remember thinking, like, this is cool, but what the customers wasn't telling me, but what I kind of like picked up on is they want full customization, but they don't want to have to do all the work.
Yeah.
And so I shared that with my product team, but they hadn't really been, I felt like they weren't talking to customers enough. But what I found is that a lot of times product people, and this is not a knock on product people, but a lot of times it could be easier for product people, engineers, to not hear what they should be hearing, where they just literally are just hearing what the customer is saying, but you gotta also have a keen ear to hear, okay, what aren't they saying?
Yeah.
And it sounds like, I'll bring that up because it sounds like you did a lot of that too, because I'm sure, like, when you're interacting with customers and stuff and prospects, like, how do you know when to take what a customer says and implement it, and also know when not to? Because Steve Jobs said it best. He said a lot of times customers don't know what they want until you show.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, how do you delineate or discern, I guess, from what they saying they need versus what they really need?
You educate them on certain things of your product too as well. Right? Like for me, I think the revenue operations piece has really helped me out, being able to understand go to market across all different departments. And so, like for me, being ahead, you listen and let people talk. And usually when they really trust you, especially as a customer, they'll talk about the things that they don't want to talk about.
Okay.
So people
Yeah.
process platform, right?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
if you really got that people section, if you really hold on to that and gain the trust of this potential customer.
Rapport. We call it rapport.
Right.
Yeah.
So you build rapport with this customer before you even talk about the platform. Eventually you get to a space where they start coming to you about things. And you interact with them in a way where it doesn't seem like where there's no friction. So a lot of people like the Jira tickets, all that stuff too as well. Like in many ways, and as I scale as a company might be hard to do, but I believe in getting them on Slack groups. Isolate them in a Slack group. So if there's something that happens, we can automate a ticket to happen.
I was just about to say that.
But when you communicate,
Yeah.
effectively within a lot of time, if really, right? And so like that way you building a trust with them so that they feel heard. And it's just like anything else, man. Like, baby starts crying, you gotta go to it. And so customer is different. It's those are the dollars and that's it.
So you got your daughter, and then you got your
right.
So you got a lot of babies to run to.
Right. So it's the same thing with the customer, man. It's like you gotta really build a relationship with them, understand their pain points. But if you try to skip people process platform, just get straight to platform, it's never gonna work. So you gotta build that relationship, build that rapport, figure out their process and really hold on to their process. And if you do that across multiple customers, especially within the same ICP, you notice trends that happen.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to identify it even for the next customer that comes on.
Right. And you say ICP, you mean ideal customer profile.
Right. Yeah.
And say MVP earlier.
Yeah.
Minimum viable product.
Yeah.
So little bit off subject, but on subject, what are your thoughts on Neil? Do you think that's good? Do you think it's bad? Because your platform like helps.
Yeah, we help with
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Neil? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
I like NIL a lot. I think it's something that I like it and I don't like it. And that might be aging me too. I think athletes, I remember like Shabazz Napier that went to UConn, who had won a national championship.
He got drafted, right?
Yeah. He got drafted. I think he got drafted by him back in the day. And that's how
because he had a long. I remember he had a long neck. Yeah, like point guard.
He's a Boston guy too, right? So like Shabazz Napier had did an article where he talked about being on campus and being humble. You know what I mean? So like talking about a guy who's in, national championship, played Madison Square
They
Garden,
made millions off of it.
made millions back in those days. And you're right, I think the students should obviously monetize off the into as well. But there needs to be rules and regulations. Some players shouldn't be able to just get up and go whenever they want to. A coach shouldn't be able to get up and go whenever they want to. I think in contract, which is Doculingo, right, there's certain clauses that should exist that should protect all parties that are associated. Right? So a platform like ours basically does that, where it centralizes any communication, any clauses, and then you can interact to ask those questions. So platforms like mine, the infrastructure needs to come at the same time. I don't think land and expand is the best model to have when you deal with athletes, dollars, revenue, etc. But that's the method of NIO today, right? Like they literally are failing first and then figuring it out second.
Mm-hmm.
So, hopefully it's not a long-term thing, but I do believe it's a great thing for athletes and their families. Could be great, obviously, for universities too as well, but there has to be some check and balances.
Got it. So who's your primary customer? Is it the college students who are getting these nail deals, or is it the institutions who are using it for their document analysis or centralization?
Yeah, so we just recently got our niche into, we isolated two different markets. So we did sports and then logistics. I did that because of the trust that I already had in those two places,
Yeah.
Pentagon, and then all the athletes and friends that I kind of grew up with at our school in sports. So it was easy to get the trust. People process platform, right?
Right.
So I learned their process too very easily. And I realized that they both had problems even in isolation. And so we found global sports commerce, think about like manufacturing, even Swift hockey, who we're dealing with right now. 200,000 sticks in a year. They managed to have an issue in China with a manufacturer. But use a platform like ours, we're able to pull out the clauses, flag the tariff changes, all those things in one place. So it speeds up the deal for people, saves time, et cetera.
Yeah.
So
Wow. So you actually made their life a lot easier with Trump.
yeah, I know. I think for anyone in that
so did that
situation,
actually help your growth?
yeah, I think so. Us getting interaction with those type of situations, yeah, and tariffs. Anytime you see that, especially with companies that are not even in the U.S.,
Yeah.
right, that are trying to do business in the U.S.
Yeah.
We got a logistic company that's doing apparel from Panama that's trying to get into the U.S. and they're using our platform all the time for the translation piece of it.
Got it. Because see, the thing is, when we first initially talked, I thought you would just focus on college, but that's a use case.
Yeah, it's use cases.
Okay.
So like usually when you start a business, you want to focus on the main thing.
Exactly.
So we were even crazy enough for people to be doing sports and then also have logistics. So we had sports plus and core plus. Everything is still centralized by the document intelligence engine.
Yeah.
So like you put a document into our platform, you upload it, it pulls out the key clauses, it extracts the list, it flags it, it gives you a signing copy, and it allows you to translate it up to 30 different languages. I knew it was going to work in sports because then the world of NIL was kind of a wild west.
Right.
So I wanted to test it in a year. But then also I wanted to see logistics too as well because I had access to that vertically. And so I just merged. Eventually you realize that global sports commerce is a real thing too. And it's a category that nobody's really touching. So I decided to interact with that. And like I said, we've been successful, 18 customers within a year. 3.5 MRR right now, still kind of low, but we're land expanding, getting one.
That's big though. I mean,
it's
in
been going.
the multiples on AI companies and just SaaS, like I know talking to somebody, but I know SaaS is like 10 extra revenue.
Yeah.
But then AI is like 20 extra revenue.
Yeah.
So
we're in a good spot, man.
Yeah, real good spot.
Yeah. Like I said, I ain't gonna say, but $12 million evaluation cap is basically out there in the world for us.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Under a year. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I forgot what I was about to ask. Do you think your two primary ICPs confused a lot of investors when you was engaging in conversation with them?
Yeah, I think it did. I think they didn't understand the direction of why I'm focusing on those two. And I was trying to help them learn people process platform. And those were the two verticals that I had more access to basically figure out if the problem is valid.
Yeah.
So
the thing is, one of my friends named Wayne said he talks about pattern matching.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's why it also can be hard
Yeah.
for us to go out there and raise money because we don't for like the typical pattern that they're used to.
Yeah.
And then you go in there and preach with 3 Ps. They like, I ain't never heard
Yeah,
of
there's
this.
no 3 Ps. They don't know no 3
They're like,
Ps.
because I know he was like, hold on, 4 Ps you mean?
Yeah, right. And then they were like, wait, like, if you doing global trade, it's really global trade, not
Yeah.
logistics. Global trade is logistics under the umbrella of global trade.
Yeah.
So sports and then global trade, like,
Yeah, that's dope. So do you oh yeah, this is what I want to ask too.
Mhm.
You said you worked at Pentagon. Like, how does someone get in the Pentagon?
How do they?
Yeah, like, how do you, and you still got clearance?
My clearance is still there. I will tell you that I got in it just because I won't say I got poached in it. I worked for a contractor that was in GSA first. And so I had access already from government. They paid for the clearance. So I already had access, but I was working around networking with people in the DoD. And I basically found my way in that way.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah. So have you thought about like getting like government contract because you still got clearance like that? DoD got a buku budget.
They do, but there's a process like FedRAMP applications. You have to be FedRAMP in order to build the rule of the government, and that process is strenuous. So, like, yes, 30-wise, I can go work for a government agency, but there's my platform is it passed to be compliant to work and get FedRAMP application for the government. That's another situation within itself.
Yeah. So that's more like something more like long
Down the
term.
time, yeah.
Down the line.
Yeah, down the line, definitely. Maybe different administration.
Yes. Yeah.
But like, yeah, the defense.
Inspiring all the black people. It ain't funny, but
So, right, that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
DC's not the same DC that I left, man. I tell you that. 'Cause it went from, being packed, rooftop parties, tech parties all over the place, to now I know it's completely different downtown. So, but yeah, I think first long-term play could be us getting into the defense sector, having an application that's FedRAMP, come through that whole process. But for right now, like I said, let's keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's next? What you could share with your company?
So fingers crossed, but I think we just closed our pre-shoot round. It's out there, so we'll see whether or not it's finalized. So I think next steps for us is just to expand the team, distribution, and execution of the two tools that I'd rather focus on and amplify operationally. And I think if we get the right team, right VP of sales to kind of own the global sports commerce space, that's our next day. Because I am a product person, and that's really my side of the game. Right. So if I can find somebody to own the other side of it, it can be the right thing. And I've been told that the first hire is everything in your company.
For sure.
So
yeah, because I read an article about it, and it said the first hire, and they weighted on the percentage.
Yeah.
They talked about company culture and stuff.
Yeah.
The percentage impact on culture.
Yeah, so I'm being very careful on that hire. Certain candidates right now, having conversations with them.
So what type of person would that be VP of sales, right? Do you want them to have experience with working with the sports industry specifically, or like what would you?
Yeah, I prefer them to work with sports. Kind of work with one of the brands too would be good for us. Doesn't have to be that, but that's like our perfect person, right? Someone who's good.
Yeah, you talking enterprise, right? Strategic accounts,
Yeah. On the other side, if you can get somebody who loves sports but may have been like 15 years of logistics, like work for like the flexible companies of the world.
Right.
The main, 3PL companies, whatever the case is. If they know that industry and they're able to own that industry, but understand how to sell products in that industry, that's really cool. But then also culturally, like, somebody who can go out to one of these games and they don't need athletes to shake hands with people, kind of has that little feel to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sports is a different game, man. Like, this is status. It is a very status-driven area. I will say that.
Yeah.
So you want to get someone who already has credibility in the space to get trust from people to have the conversation, to talk about the process, and then eventually they talk about the platform that you have.
Right.
But part of that is finding the person that they don't. So
facts. And then my last question: how when there's like things happening globally, right? Like particularly with the oil shocks.
Yeah.
Does that add a benefit? Does that drive a bigger demand for what you offer?
Yeah.
And explain like how.
Yeah, it does, because there's no infrastructure really when it comes to that. And everybody scatters into multiple different applications as opposed to one. So like with documentation, think about everything in the world that we have. Like even in this room, there's been some form of documentation before it can get in here.
Right.
So like on that level, I scale, that's even bigger, right? So, one misquoted, one tariff off, one clause off, like be the difference between 150,000 to 1 million of lost revenue for a company. So having the right infrastructure is very important.
Yeah.
So I think a platform like ours, although I don't say we're everything, we're the source of all truth, we do take care of the documentation piece.
Got it. So let's say I'm a logistics company, right? And I need to move product around the country.
Mhm.
So they're going to use your platform to figure out clauses that could protect them from the price hike, or
Price hike, there's tariffs in cross jurisdictions, laws that exist.
so that basically they're using your platform to figure out how to redirect and
Yeah.
effectively create new distribution channels. Sounds like
That, but then also internally, if they are working with documents, if there's, in-house counsel, whatever, they basically can surf through all the clauses, the key clauses instantly, flag exactly where it is, and get a sign-in probability. And if there's high risk, and exactly where those high risk clauses exist and where they match and don't match, right? And so for them, they're able to sift through it. If they don't have an in-house team, let's say they're a mid-sized company and they decide to go out and find, a third party, lawyer.
yeah,
We know lawyers are billing people bazooka hours
yeah,
on certain contracts. And,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got lawyers in my family. Like one of them, I can't announce that.
Yeah,
It
right.
ain't happy yet, but
We all know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like any service.
yeah,
really.
they're being commoditized. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So, I think what we do is allow people to see things in a platform. And again, it protects all parties, not just on the sports plus side, and on the court plus side, it protects all parties to see the clauses, see exactly the translation. That's a big piece too. Translators in different countries, you're talking about weeks compared to days.
yeah, yeah. And the more I think about it too, I think that it could be strategically good for you to align with lawyers,
Yeah.
right? Because they could actually be you could actually potentially be a part of their
The distribution channel too.
distribution channel, but they can actually effectively resell your stuff. The way I'm thinking about it too.
They could. Yeah, 100%. They can co-sell in a way where, we'd recommend them to certain clauses if they ever decide to get a company, and we ever decide to go towards like a preferred marketplace.
Funny, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Doculingo.
Yeah.
So like even that.
Yeah, I was just thinking, all right, you could, yeah.
So that's another distribution engine that comes in and it kind of keeps everybody in one place. And to me, like I said, it's all wrapped around a product. So
Right.
I have no problem, as
Yeah, and that can be another, revenue stream.
Oh, yeah, 100%, big
yeah,
time.
yeah.
So like we're not quite there yet, only a year in the game. But I think at some point in time, we'll definitely even look at that piece of it. Because I know a lot of lawyers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything else
Nah, man.
you want to share?
Nah, appreciate it, dog. I think these type of conversations I'd love to have, because with people that,
Yeah,
we talk about life in general, but then we can talk about it back to product.
right.
And so like we need more conversations like this existing.
Yeah.
I don't think cultural podcasts sometimes shows these type of conversations. You see a little bit of
Yeah, and
the chaos.
yeah, and I want to give you some insight too on what I'm doing. Like, my first, role models were like hustlers. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
and
We hustle in a different way. Though.
yeah, we hustle in a different way. And so with me, I always wanted to create something that was authentic to who I am, but also uplifted the conversation. So
Right.
I named what I'm doing purposely because I wanted to speak to people. And it's funny when I told you what I was doing, you like, I need to be on that.
Yeah, trap talk. I like,
Yeah.
I know that life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I see what I'm doing as honey because the attract the bees. Because you look at other podcasts that may have a similar name as mine, talking about whatever, and we can talk about certain things, but I like to talk about it from a different angle, not like not talking about, oh, Megan was right for what she did to Clay.
Yeah, I mean,
I would rather say something else, and not so we're gonna touch on it. But I would rather say like, how do we think this situation is impacting the dating culture and how people view it? Like, I want to ask questions more like that.
Right. Yeah.
That uplift the conversation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Versus that just conversation that I call like I'm just playing in the dirt.
Yeah.
For clicks, you know what I'm saying? I'm not really doing this for clicks. I'm doing this
For the
because
dopamine, right?
yeah.
I see it happen way too much, man. I think it's a bad representation of guys like us, parents like us, brothers like us.
Right.
Like we're all moving in a different light that I think it's, minimized. I used to always say this, I'm tired of seeing certain people speak on political, like even politics, right? Like talk to rappers about politics. When there's enough people I know in DC that can have a full conversation to you about it.
Yeah, but you know why though, right? Because people wanna listen to people who say I'm cool. I'm cool.
Cool culture.
Like, you know what I'm
Cool
saying? Like
culture does nothing for us. You know
the
that.
facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, us
Everybody else profits off of it.
the trajectory of how long it takes for us to realize that cool really isn't. Like we try to stay cool for a very long time. And the problem is that's not, there's an expiration date that it's
Mhm.
it should be within the ages of 23.
Yeah.
I think at a certain point in time, cool culture has been very detrimental towards us, man. And like
Yeah.
it shows up in everything that we do and how people actually view us, perceive us.
Right.
I'm not
Yeah.
just cool. Like I grew up in a way where the cool culture, was heavily amplified.
Yeah.
I know
Sure.
grown men still trying to push that. And I'm 30, I'm talking older than me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm cool with being corny, man. I'm cool with being the dad at home that's trying to do things the right way, that's living in humility. When I make a mistake, I fuck up. Like, it's okay.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So,
Yeah. I went home and I had a conversation with my cousin, and this guy was around, and he was talking about how he'd be gladly and willing to do 30 years to make X amount of money. I told my cousin, I said, he's around, I'm not coming up.
yeah.
That guy, they
Stay away from that, man.
stay away from him. I don't know why you around that man.
They don't pray for that. Yeah. So,
dope, man. It's been a dope convo,
my
man.
God. Always.
It's like I said, man, it's so I don't believe in coincidences.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that, we met the first time off Main Street, and then we seen each other in Raleigh.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that, it's like, I don't believe in coincidences, man.
No.
But I knew instant, I was like, yeah, this is gonna work.
My God.
Just like I said, like with my first question, you're so assured of yourself.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you have a quality, it's easy to see it in other people too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of why I saw it. It just shines so bright. Like, man, like I said, the interaction you described with investors and stuff. I'm like, this guy, move and get it. You know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily your knowledge, it's the way you carry yourself. Like, I don't need these investors. Like, you're doing him a favor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So I really, really appreciate that about you, man. I already know you're gonna do big things, man. I feel lucky to have met you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see this whole thing as a coincidence. I come back to Durham,
Yeah.
and then
That's true.
start a weekend, and then I meet you.
Yeah.
Because when I network now, like I tell some people, there might be 100 people around, right?
Yeah.
The old me, when I was here, like 10 years ago, I tried to meet every person.
Really?
That's how crazy I was.
Yeah.
I didn't really.
Volume though is everything, but I feel it's strategic.
Now it's like if there's 100 people, I'm really only trying to have like 2 to 3 deep conversations. You know what I'm saying? Or deep connections. At the most 5.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you were actually one of those 2 to 3 people that I met. I'm like, yo, this guy is something. I don't know what we didn't even talk much about your platform at that time. We touched on it a little bit. I didn't really understand. I was like, I don't know, something. I'm like, it's something about this guy. Something about Taylor. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, it's something. Something there. So man, thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah.
I want to thank y'all for joining us again.
Appreciate
This Corey
y'all.
State Trapping, Taylor Wrice with Doculingo.
Yes, sir.
Definitely won't be the last time. I got some stuff playing in the future. But yeah, man, thanks for the opportunity.
Pleasure, brother.
Again, this is Trap Talks, where we discuss the intersection of culture and tech.
Yes, sir.
We out.
Peace. Oh, that one's gonna blow up. That one's gonna blow up.
Time out. Go to patreon.com/traptalks2040 to subscribe and get access to unreleased interviews before everybody else sees them. Peace.